Okay, hi. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever it is that you may be listening from. Just want to say a thank you, first of all, to HundrED for giving me the opportunity to do this or inviting me to do this. Something never done before, especially kind of staring at a screen blankly with kind of nobody on the other end. So it's a little bit strange. Hopefully, throughout the next kind of 15 minutes or so, I'll be able to provide some help and sort of support and advice and some information basically as to what it is that we're doing, and hopefully some people will find it useful. As and when you do watch, if you want to leave any comments, I think I know how this works. I think it should pop up on my screen. So if you've got any questions, then obviously I'd love to hear them, and hopefully I'll try my best to answer them and make them useful for you. Okay. If I do look down, obviously I've got some notes down here, so apologies for that. All right, so I'll begin. I've got a kind of a suggested flow that's come through, and obviously this month it's looking at diversifying education. I just want to briefly introduce myself. My name's Ryan Ball. I'm from the UK originally, and I'm currently working in Malaysia, where I am the head of design technology at an international school called Garden International School in Kuala Lumpur, and I am the founder of Youth Made Initiative. So I'm a full-time teacher, and this is something that I'm kind of doing as part of my teaching. And as I say, hopefully some of you will find it useful. Okay. So yeah, innovation. The theme of the month is diverse in education, and the thing that interested me about that is, as an educator, we hear very often in the media and in various different avenues about the need to change skill sets and the need to adjust the way that we're doing our education model. And it's something that I took interest in and kind of read and agreed with to a certain extent, but I find it really hard in terms of the constraints that we had, for instance, things like examinations and so on. There was lots of great models out there for doing change and looking at a different skill set and a different mindset, but we're often constrained with what we actually had to do kind of for GCSEs, IB, diplomas and so on. And again, in the media, hearing lots of different things about the importance of manufacturing, the importance of design, changing the skill set because we've got a deficiency of skills and people to fill these work-related roles. And as a design technology educator, it's something that I really felt true and held dear to. And this is where Youth Made Initiative kind of came about, I suppose. As I started my role over here in Malaysia 5 years ago, I found that there was a significant lack of understanding of what design and technology education was. So I started to try and approach the matter, talking to parents and students and introduce them to companies and organizations locally, and said, look, this is what is important. We had a lot of students going down the science and the maths route, especially in Asia, where it's felt really, really important and really strong, but not many students going down the design route, which I felt was imperative. So one of the things we started to do for our GCSE groups, which is age 16, the students have to design and make an outcome as part of their project. And students, like they traditionally did in lots of different schools, which isn't wrong, were designing things for themselves. So it's something we set about pretty quickly to change, and I introduced the idea of using a real-life client. So I think the first year that I was there, we did some designs for a hotel. So I got in touch with a local hotel and just said to them, look, these students need to design and make something. Is it okay if they design and make something for your hotel? And they said that they were currently looking at refurbishing some of their rooms and that they would like desk lamps and table bedside lamps and things. So that year we took that on board, and it had a significant impact, and it's something we've continued since, and we've rolled that out amongst our various different projects and curriculums so that students have got a real life client to work with. We also started to look at the skills that we were teaching them and approaching companies and asking them things like, what software do you use for design, for instance? Are you still using Photoshop or Illustrator or whatever it happens to be? And we wanted to try and get our students using those same skills, those same software, for instance. And this kind of continued, and then a few other schools in the area were fairly keen on the things that we were doing and asked how we got our contacts. And I suppose it kind of grew from there, really. Being an international school, it was very competitive amongst all the other schools. So rather than putting it under the Garden School banner, I came up with Youth Made Malaysia at the time, put together a website and shared all the links and the ideas and things through that. And that's how it kind of grew. And from Youth Made Malaysia, other people that I knew, other teachers in different parts of the world, kind of liked the idea as well, and it kind of moved on from there. And now we've got Youth Made Singapore, Hong Kong, UAE, and Malaysia currently. So one of the things that I wanted to just kind of run through is how to go about using this model of industry and local companies and local businesses, and how you can get them engaged into school, or certainly how we did it at our school. So national school, being an international school, we do have quite a few parents who have got high positions in companies. So as we put a box in the center of the school, or in the front of the school, I should say, we just said, look, if you are interested in potentially working with the school in any particular avenue, if you can drop your card in, then it would be fantastic. Hello, Philippe. I can just see your comment popped up. Nice to see you. So yeah, business card drops made a huge difference, and we put it in the school for about 2 months, I think, and also had a Google form on the newsletter, and from that we got something like 60 different companies ranging from a range of things such as UNICEF and WWF, financial institutes, oil and gas, many of which we've not used yet, or we've not found a link in our curriculum, but some of which have certainly been really useful and really handy to us. And I found that having these real life links for things like projects makes students stick to deadlines. It's one of the big things that we found in our coursework, is students have a deadline and it's very easy to go past that deadline. Whereas in this case, we were saying, look, you are meeting your client in 2 weeks. We have got this meeting arranged for them. You don't want to look silly. You need to get the work done. It helped with their communication skills as well, because they'd have to speak, obviously, to people that wasn't just Mr. Ball or Mr. whoever it was, or Mrs. whoever. So to have these real life clients in front of them, which is what they were, they felt a lot more mature and engaged about their work, which we found as a real positive. Ideas to source, yeah. So and it can be kind of really simple ways that we've changed our curriculum to suit it. It hasn't made a huge, significant kind of change or impact. Even it has made kind of subtle differences. So for our projects, we now have video briefs. So if we can't get the person in to introduce the project to our students, then we get them to record something like this to introduce themselves. So we're currently doing a project for WWF with our Year 7 students, where they're designing promotional products which are going to be sold at Christmas fetes and fairs and so on to raise money for WWF. And the people in Malaysia that work for the organisation kindly put together a kind of a 30-second clip and said, hello, Garden School students, this is your brief, this is what you need to do, kind of see you soon. And it's really, really simple, and it engages them, and they realise that, this is something real, it can make a difference. They've heard of the organisation and the company, and they're really excited to do some work for it. It makes the learning authentic. They can see that these kinds of things do exist, and they can start to pick up on careers that are associated with it. If they have heard of the company and they can see the links, it makes a big difference in that way as well, in terms of authenticity. So yeah, what does it look like in practice? So I've got a few kind of examples or case studies, and at the end of this I can direct you to the website where you can see some more. So we've basically built up a community, and that's a really big thing. So currently in Malaysia, we have, I think, 15 schools that we're working with, and 35, I think it is, companies. So that gives it a huge number of links for students, for schools, for staff, and for parents as well, which I'll come on to later. And we've now got companies and organisations at the end of a telephone or at the end of an email to simply contact them and ask for some help and advice. And sometimes the advice is very quick. You know, only last week I had a student that was doing this electronics project, and electronics isn't necessarily my strong point. So I managed to get onto the phone to him and say, could you help our student out? No problem. He popped in a few hours later and managed to sort out the issue with the student. So having that just on hand is super useful, and it's a great opportunity as well for local organisations to play a part in education, and certainly education in the local area. Kids have got, or the students have got, more interest in the subject. They can see real life outcomes. They can see sometimes their work in local media, or they can, you know, they might bump into some of their clients or some of the other organisations that they've worked with in town, for instance, and they're building up a relationship in that way. We've had students do internships and work experience for some of the companies as well, which has been fantastic, to really get them passionate about a design career, which otherwise they hadn't thought about. It's also a nice bit of public relations as well. You know, maybe that's something that we shouldn't be ashamed of in education. You know, it is important to give a bit of PR to the school, and in our case, to our subject area. And we have been in the news and in the media and things like this today, only help to show the importance of design and manufacturing and education as a whole. Yeah, and working for clients now is a norm in our department. From year 7 up to year 13, students work with and for a client like it is in real life. You know, a brief will land on their desk and they have to solve that problem and open up that dialogue and that communication with an organisation. So it's only small changes that need to happen, you know. So in terms of design and technology, where you do design and make a project and we learn lots of different skills, it's just tweaking it slightly and seeing if you can get a company on board. Just run through a few case studies. So one example is we currently in our year 11s, so our GCSEs this year, we've got our students designing and making products for a local blind school. I reached out to the Malaysia Association for the Blind and basically said, you know, our students need to make some outcomes. It would be fantastic if we could work for you guys. So our students went round, they looked at kind of empathetic designing, had conversations with the teachers at the Blind Association, looked at the different needs and wants of the students that went to the school. And now we've got students designing a whole array of different things, from kind of braille games through to kinesthetic games, to a whole range of things which hopefully, touch wood, are going to be finished in the next couple of weeks, and we can take them down to trial it out. Oh, thank you, Philippe. Impressive list of partners on the site. Thank you. We have also got, we did a project called Books on the Move. And Books on the Move is a really interesting one. We got approached because they wanted some students to make stuff. And we looked at doing it within our curriculum and realised it was going to be a little bit tricky to do. So we put it out on our website as an opportunity for all the schools in the area to get involved in a weekend workshop. And we pulled in a local kind of STEM centre called BGBG. And Books on the Move is basically an initiative run by a lady, certainly the Malaysian branch, run by a lady in Malaysia, where they're trying to get more people reading on public transport. And they wanted some kind of book installations to go into train stations throughout Kuala Lumpur. So people could drop off a book and then pick up another book, read it on their way to work, and drop it off at another station. So our students got involved in this, and students from other schools as well, working with local designers and manufacturers to design these book swap installations out of old oil drums. So it's in partnership with the Education is Great campaign by the British High Commission, Books on the Move, a local STEM centre, and ourselves. And now these book swap installations are dotted around 3 or 4 different train stations in Kuala Lumpur, getting people reading. It's also branded with the students' names as well, which is, I know, helped some of them get into university because they can show their lecturers and the people for their interviews. This is something that I've done to help the community. It was a volunteering thing. And it really kind of pulled everybody together, which was fantastic. I'm just going to read through some comments before I move on to kind of the next bit. Thank you, Derek. Just beautiful, authentic, community-connected projects. Thank you very much. Looking at doing a makerspace in our school. Oh, this is super useful and useful. Thanks. And I think that's the kind of the key. It isn't a big change. You know, we are restricted in education by certain constraints and barriers, and it's just little changes that can make a big difference. And for something like the Youth Made Initiative, is just putting these opportunities basically on a plate for schools to engage with if they wish. And some of the partners have been quite kind of silent partners, and some of the schools have also been relatively silent, but it's knowing that they're there, you know, and you can contact them if you wish, if you've got an opportunity. And I suppose this has been one of the fairly hard parts setting it up, is contacting companies and saying, look, we're not after money. We don't expect you to put any money into anything like this. It doesn't need to be a huge commitment. It might be an hour a month. It might be an hour a year. It might be 20 minutes a week. It's as and when, whatever it is that you want to do. Okay, just to kind of finish off, I'm just going to read this from the list, and then there's some other projects as well which I've enjoyed looking at through HundrED, in terms of ones that are really inspirational to me, and ones that I think are fairly kind of similar to the things that we're doing as well, which might be of interest. So if what I've been talking about this evening interests you, you can also find Community Share, Empower Playgrounds, and Future Class Network from the HundrED website. I'm just going to give you a little bit more information about these 3 that I've picked out, which I think are really interesting. Apologies for kind of reading this. So Community Share, which is one of the initiatives on the website, connects the skills and experiences of community partners, individual professionals, community leaders, organisations and businesses, with the goals and needs of educators in schools and informal learning environments. So in a way similar to the kinds of things we're doing, although we're a little bit more focused on design and manufacturing. And they register and create online profiles to indicate the expertise that they would like to share with teachers and students. So yeah, kind of local professionals being able to pop onto a site, this is what I can offer, I think is fantastic. And I think we certainly need to engage more with the skills and the expertise outside of the school buildings to know what they want, you know, to get our students kind of work ready, amongst other things. The second one that I've picked out is an association called Empower Playgrounds. Empower Playgrounds is a fantastic initiative that uses playgrounds as a source of electricity in Ghana. And obviously being a design technology educator myself, this is something very close to my heart. I think it's fantastic. And in addition to the electricity generating play equipment, the schools involved benefit from a custom science education kit as well. So the students can learn more about what they're doing and kind of how it works. And it gives them hands-on engineering and technology skills. Fantastic thing. It looks amazing. And again, the students are learning from it as well. It's not only just a good cause in that way. So that's fantastic. And the final one that I've picked is the Future Class Network. And the Future Class Network is an online platform which allows a network of teachers to collaborate, share experiences, and challenge the traditional norms of education from the grassroots. And they concentrate quite a lot on the flipped learning approach. And the thing I liked about this is that network. And for the Youth Made Initiative, although the main kind of goal was linking to industry, we've also realised that we've got a huge network of local teachers, local schools and students that they're willing to help each other out, basically. And through doing something like this, I've made a number of friends, not only kind of professional colleagues and links and so on, We deliver training to each other. We've had organisations in to give training to us for industry-related skills, and also vice versa. We've also, as schools, given training to local industry. Last year we gave a 3D printing workshop and CAD design workshop to a local organisation that wanted to find out more. So we try and stress it is very much a two-way thing as well. Okay, last words. Just have a quick look on the comments if there's anything else. Oh, thanks for the link. So yeah, thanks for having me. Looking forward to the next web day and to learning more from this community and getting involved in it in a few more ways if I possibly can. If you would like to connect or like to find out a little bit more about the initiative, you can find us on www.youthmadeinitiative.com, and from that you can connect to the current country sites that are running. If you are working in a country that currently we don't look at, then please do get in touch and see if it's something that we can help you with. You can contact myself. My name's Ryan Ball, at youthmadeinitiative@gmail.com, and I'm also on Twitter at youthmadeini, I-N-I, because initiative's too long, it won't fit on, and also on Instagram, also at youthmadeini. Last few words then, stay tuned for the next webinar with guest Lindsay Pinchbeck, who is a HundrED ambassador from the USA. So I don't think she can get probably any further around the globe from where I currently am in Malaysia. For more information, go to HundrED.org, where you can share your ideas, find inspiring innovations, join the ambassador program, and much, much more. So thank you very much for having me. Wherever you're hearing from, it'd be great to hear from some of you again. Have a good morning, afternoon, or evening. And until next time, thank you very much.